Hello everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel. As you can see, I finally got my Kickstarter in from Cthulhu Death May Die, Fear of the Unknown. So in this video, we're going to crack this whole thing open and see what's all in here. And look who decided to visit. My buddy Cthulhu up here. He's standing in for the giant Relay Rising statue. I tried to get that in shot, but I just couldn't make it work. So he's going to stand in and represent the Cthulhu mini statue. I'm just going to put some stuff away from my 1985 replay, although I am going to need something different out later, as I'm going to get ready to set that up once I get done with this video. There we are. Okay. Try not to let everything go flying on me here, but let's go ahead and start getting this whole thing cracked open. We're going to start with, of course, the main box, which is this one right over here. Actually, we'll just show off the dice real quick. I picked up a few extra sets of dice, including another set of the frost dice. But you've got your 5 green dice and your 3 standard black dice in there. So now I can give everybody a set of their own. Since it's not that long ago that we did have a pandemic, so I want to be able to pass that out to everybody on their own. So let's bring the camera back in closer. We'll get everything else out of shot, and then we'll start, as I said, we'll start with this box. All right, let's bring the camera into the table, and we'll bring that. Actually, we'll turn that so it's straight, and then we'll bring that down in shot. Cthulhu Death May Die, Fear of the Unknown by CMON Games. Now, full disclosure, you may have heard me talk a little bit when I was unboxing Metal Gear Solid about being hesitant to pick that game up because I couldn't decide if I liked the Metal Gear Solid franchise more or disliked CMON less. I finally decided I liked Metal Gear Solid more, but the reason I was not happy with CMON was this Kickstarter. You might, if you were following along on Kickstarter, you might remember that it was actually in retail for quite a while before the Kickstarter actually launched. There were a lot of people on Kickstarter who, to put it mildly, were not happy with that at all. So that's kind of the backstory there on why that made me so hesitant, but the game's here now, so let's crack it open and see what's all in here. Creatures beyond imagining, greater even than nightmares, their presence alone enough to bring the world to an end. Only those fueled by madness have a chance of stopping them. Be it by faith or eldritch influence, cultists found a way to summon great old ones believed to be only the stuff of legends into our world, leaving nothing but destruction and horror in their wake. Cthulhu Death May Die, Fear of the Unknown, is an action-packed cooperative board game for 1 to 5 players. The cost for saving reality from eldritch horrors from out of space and time is your sanity, and maybe more, but you know the price is worth paying. I'm hoping that we've got cards for the Relay Rising episode in here as well. In this mess somewhere, but let's crack this first box open and see what we've got in here. Boy. I was hoping there'd be a little more of a narrow point in here where I could actually get the knife in. Looks like I can up here. So we'll open it from there. Okay. Looks like that's paper that comes off. And it looks like the back of the box says the exact same stuff as was on the paper anyway. Let's just take a quick look at the paper. Not double-sided. Okay, so we can get that out of the way. And then we'll get the shrink wrap off. Turn this over. Easy does it, okay? And now we'll pull the first box off and see what we've got in here. CMON catalog, free content. Rulebook, which we'll give a thumb through. I've heard that there are some changes there. We've got our investigators, but as usual, I'm not going to crack these open until I'm ready to sort everything out. Let's see, unknown monsters. I wonder if that's for... Then we've got a single one with unknown monster. That's one unknown monster. So maybe that's a... That might be something for Relay Rising, but I don't know about that. We've got our same track since this is a standalone game. And Death May Die, Fear of the Unknown. Then we're starting to get into our tiles. Once again, I'm not going to punch everything out until we're ready for that. And I think the unknown monsters... I think the unknown stuff is all for Relay Rising, but hopefully the rulebook will shed a little more light on that. Looks like we've got our relics, new disorders, and the looks like the ancient ones in the box are Sathagua, which we'll crack that open as well. So we've got what look like the gaze tokens in here. Presumably those will be for something related. Fatigue tokens is what those are. Then we've got minions of Sathagua and Sathagua cards. The Mythos cards for Sathagua or Sathagua, and the minis for the minion in there. I'm trying to keep this something resembling organized because this is going to be a nightmare when it's time to punch everything out. Hey, Jester, we're just starting here. I'm probably not going to crack open every single box, but we'll at least take a look at the ancient ones in here. And then we've got Azathoth. Let's see, these are the cosmic tokens. I'm sure Azathoth's cards will explain how those work. Good luck trying to keep it all straight. Well, I'm going to try my damnedest to keep it all straight. We've got the minions of Azathoth. I'm sure I'm going to be ripping inserts out here and nothing flat, but we'll see about that. Then we've got, of course, the Mythos cards, along with a cursory look at the minis, what all minis are in here. So Azathoth and the Dancers of Azathoth. If they're anything like they are in Arkham Horror, the card game, the Dancers of Azathoth are probably going to be very dangerous. You want to see me paint those minis. Except for one problem with that plan, Jester, that being that my artistic talent never got far past stick figures. So painting is probably more than a little out of my reach. Then we've got our 6 episodes in here. Top of the Morning, Isle of the Damned, Deliver Us from Evil, By Request of the Queen, Festival of Death, and that looks like German. Die Schon und das Biest. I did not take any German at all in school, so I probably just butchered the high holy hell out of that pronunciation. Yep. And we'll take a quick look at the minis in here, along with an extra set of dice and all the stands. And we've got a second level of, which actually I'm not going to crack this thing open until I'm ready to start sorting everything out. There's too much in here, and I don't want to crack it open multiple times. Let's see, we want Sathagua and Azathoth. As I mentioned, these cards, I'm expecting those to be the monsters for the Relay Rising expansion, but we'll give a thumb through of the rule book to see what the story is there. Trying to remember how this all went. I think about something like that. Something like that, I think. And we'll throw all this back in. And as I mentioned, we'll thumb through the rule book real quick. Hopefully this will explain a bit more about what all our components are for. We'll see if we can zoom in on that. And zooming in on using two more huge boxes to get at my touchpad on my laptop is going to be an interesting experience, but I seem to be managing. Okay, I think that'll do. Okay. So we'll thumb through the rule book. Unknown monster cards. This is going to be a fairly thick rule book, but not too bad. Let's see. All right, we've got our overview and all of that stuff. Free digital content. You probably don't want to know how much you spent on all of this. By the time, well, this was a few years ago too, so bear that in mind. By the time I got everything factored in, because I got in addition to the stuff you saw in the initial shot, I also did get the Relay Rising. I think I was probably about $400 into this thing all told. So you can imagine that when this was in retail for a while, before the Kickstarter came through, probably a little bit easier to imagine why I was not happy with CMON when it hit retail before it got anywhere near backers. But at least everything's here now, thankfully. And of course, this is just rehashing the rules of Death May Die, but I'm very much familiar with the rules of Death May Die. I know, Jester, I know you were saying something about there being some changes to the rules, but hopefully it's not too bad. Hopefully it's not too much changing. Everything at a glance just looks very familiar. Okay. Unknown rules. They can add this. Okay, so they can add that. Increase the difficulty. So we've got an unknown board. Unknown monsters. Okay, so it looks like it's for an increased difficulty. I was expecting it to be for the Relay Rising expansion, but again, there should be some cards in there, unless we also use the unknown monsters for Relay Rising. Or is it the same? You think there were just slight changes? Okay, good to know. Single unknown monster. Okay, so yeah, that's what that double-sided unknown monster was. Skill codex, explaining how all those work. Episode lore. Okay. And a rules summary, which looks very much the same as before. So we can get that out of the way without breaking the box the first time through. Okay, perfect. Then we'll zoom this back all the way out. And we'll bring our next box in shot. Hopefully there won't be another rule book that we'll have to zoom in on, but we'll find out. So next we'll go to the Season 4 expansion, which actually came with some extra disorders. I think this might have been a stretch goal or something. See if I can get the tape off here without tearing everything, preferably. There we go. Easy does it. Well, I'm trying to get this off. I'm trying to get this tape off, or enough that I can use everything without mangling the cards. But it looks like we've got some extra disorders, and on the other side, there's at least one extra relic in the box. So we can throw that in somewhere, probably back in the core box. But we've got the Season 4 expansion here. We'll take a look at this. Be it high in the sky, or in the depths of the Nile, inside an ancient pyramid, or even in other worlds, the Elder Ones will be there, waiting, and will soon follow. Season 4 expands the action of Cthulhu, Death May Die, and Fear of the Unknown, bringing the madness to places yet unexplored. Featured inside are 6 new investigators and 6 new episodes, introducing nightmarish creatures and brand new horrors from this and other worlds. Not only are there new monsters for players to face, but the new Elder One, Nyarlathotep, comes with new and challenging abilities. Will you survive the fight against the Haunter in the dark? The episodes of Season 4 take you to distant lands, from the sands of Egypt and through a portal to different dimensions. From high above the clouds inside a Zeppelin to the horror-stricken village of Dunwich, cultists are ever more resourceful, inching closer to fulfilling their goals of summoning an ancient old one to our reality. Delightful. Once again, we'll crack this open and see what's in here. And it looks like they're saying there is a rule book in here. Actually, we can just go from here down toward the bottom. And it looks like I got a little bit of knife on the box, but that shouldn't be too bad. We'll slice that a little more. Okay, I think we can start tearing this shrink off here. Once again, that is just paper that can come off. Actually, we should be able to throw the extra stuff in this box. I'm gonna have to figure out how on earth I want to organize this whole thing. Scratch the coating to check the authenticity. I'm not gonna worry about that right now, but let's crack the box and see what's in here. We've got our Season 4 rulebook. We'll give that a quick thumb through as well. More tiles, along with tokens. Yeah. Phoenix Knight 0, Shrink Wrap 1. It wasn't bad though. Our unknown monster board. So this is what the core rulebook was talking about, where you've got either 2 unknown monsters or 1 to make the game a little bit easier. Then we've got our aforementioned unknown monsters, along with the Mythos cards and extra relics. More investigators. Again, I'm not going to separate those until I'm ready for them. Got our minis in here, along with more disorders. Actually, yeah, that should be an easy place to throw. What do I do with those extra stretch goals? Here they are. So those should fit in there quite nicely, and it looks like they do. We've got our new ancient one in here as mentioned. Holy crap. We have got the crawling chaos himself, Nyarlathotep. Which he's got a final form, a human form, and a final form in here, along with a moon beast. If Nyarlathotep is anything like he is in the Arkham Files, he is going to be all kinds of problems to fight against. And we've got the Mythos cards, the minions, our fire tokens, and look at all of that inside for Nyarlathotep. I think that was everything in that box. Looks like the side of the box the corner of this box got a little bit dinged up, but not too bad. My favorite old one, Nyarlathotep. Yeah, favorite. Sure, we'll go with that. Our episodes this time, it might be a little bit hard to see. We'll tip the camera up without slamming the table or without slamming the box back on the board. We've got Horror in the Sky, The Haunted Garden, Fields of Hell, Death on the Nile, Pyramid of Fear, and The Window into the Infinite. And then we've got, of course, our more minis in here. That'll go back in. All of that can go back in as well. We'll bring the tiles back in as well. And then we'll bring the rule book in, and we'll zoom in on this for a quick look. Okay, that should do. Maybe a little bit too far. Let me see if I can pull it out just a touch. There we go. That'll work better. Okay, this is also a short rule book, which helps. Let's see, explaining the unknown rules again. Yeah, it might be... I'm starting to think that the unknown monsters are what we are going to have to use with the Relay Rising episode. And we've got all of our adjusting the difficulty, episode lore, and another copy of the rules summary. Okay. He does it with the box. Okay, speaking of boxes, we'll zoom this all the way back out, and then we'll bring the unknowable box in next. Good artwork and minis, but a big game. Some would even call this a monster game. Ha ha. Very funny. All right. And now the unknowable box. Let's see what's on the back here. Looks like we've got Nug and Yeb and more lost episodes. And no rule book. Hey, look at that. Bring the knife in. Oh, there is a rules leaflet. That shouldn't be too long to crack open. And once again, no paper on one, and for a change, no paper on this one. How many boxes did I end up getting? Everything, believe it or not, everything came in one box. But in terms of content I got with this Kickstarter, I got a total of, I think I ended up with a total, all told, of 6 boxes. Because I've got the 3 here. I've got the core box, the Season 4 expansion, this unknowable box, 2 more that were in a crack, and then the Relay Rising expansion came in another box much earlier. That came in, I want to say that came in July, because I remember I was doing an episode of Mystical Munchies when I cracked open the giant Cthulhu statue. I remember it was the entree for that month's cookbook that I was working out of. But let's get this open and see what's in here. Now, if you're going to ask me to count how many inside boxes I got, yeah, let's not go there. Here's the rules leaflet with the unknowable box, which gives us our lore on the episodes, then the investigator tokens and other components, and then new investigator with skill clarifications. That was quick. Got another relic in here, which I think was a Halloween stretch goal. Actually, we've got a couple relics in here that are Halloween stretch goals from the looks of it. Because we've got the skull and the head and the pumpkin, along with our unknown monsters from the box. Another mess of investigators. I'm going to have to figure out storage for this whole thing. I've got a giant tote that I've got for everything, but I'm not sure that's going to work. And I need something for the investigators alone at this point, because we've got a lot of investigators. A discovery looks like probably specific to one of the investigators. Our tokens. Backside of that. Nug and Yeb, who both come together, presumably. Looks like a little rules insert to explain how Nug and Yeb work. The spawn of Shub-Niggurath, if I remember correctly. Losing a level from the final stage. Okay. Then we've got an influence track for Nug and one for Yeb. And of course, we've got the minion cards. That's probably a summon track of some kind for them. Then the loyal followers. And then interestingly, for the minis, we have only Nug and Yeb in here. I'm never going to get those names right. I'm going to have to say them repeatedly before I feature them on the channel. All that can go back in the box, though. Actually, those relics should stay out here for the time being. Oop, unknown monsters. That needs to go in there, though. And then our episodes in here are Hypnos, Dreams in the Witch House, The Color Out of Space, and Horror in the Museum. All of this can go back in. Let's make sure we can close the box nice and clean in here. That should work, I think. Easy does it. There we go. Checking the underside of the box. Okay, we're good there. So next we'll take a look at another ancient one that came separate, Ithaca the Windwalker. This Elder One box introduces Ithaca the Windwalker and the Shantak, its unholy attendants to Cthulhu, Death May Die. Fully compatible with any episode, this Elder One controls blizzards and violent snowstorms, hindering any investigators that try to remain sane in its winds. And we'll crack this open, and we'll see what we've got in here. More paper on the back of the box. And let's crack open Ithaca, see what all we've got in here. And I hear the cards and everything went flying on me. So it looks like that's going to lock out one of our stress icons, presumably. I'm sure Ithaca will explain all of that. Then we've got all the minions, of course. Ithaca's Mythos cards. And I believe the middle one is Ithaca, and the other two are the Shantaks. Yep, those two are the Shantaks. Okay, that can go back in. And our last box, shockingly, actually gives us something rare in this world. Allies, namely animal allies. From a glance, it looks like we've got a monkey, a snake, a dog, and a wolf maybe. But let's find out what's all in here. So we've got our 10 highly detailed plastic miniatures. So we've got a few of them. We'll go ahead and get this open. Looking for a good access point. I think actually, here is probably going to be my better bet. All right, we can close the knife finally. And we'll get these animal allies opened. And we're going to have to open that from here. All right, so we've got our animal allies. Add the animal allies to the unknown relic deck. Okay. And then everything to clarify that. And then these are the cards to represent each of the minions. So it looks like we've got in here, looks like we've got a chimp, a snake, actually an owl, which one is that? That's a hound, and then the cat. So we've actually got animal allies in here. I doubt it's going to make me an animal. I doubt this box is going to make me an animal person in real life, but at least the animals can be somewhat helpful in the world of the Cthulhu mythos. So we'll get that box out of the way. And that, as you can probably imagine, was a lot of content. Let's see, we'll zoom. Are we zoomed back all the way out? I think we are. Okay, and that at long last, once we get everything set back up, so 1, 2, 3. Let me back this up just a little bit. 4, 5 boxes again, plus the one for the Relay Rising expansion makes 6, and the extra dice. And that at long last is everything in the box with a Kickstarter for Cthulhu Death May Die, Fear of the Unknown. Whew! That is going to be a lot of stuff that I'm going to need to get sorted out, punched out, and all of that fun stuff. So yeah, I'm going to be at that for a while. I've got a few other things that I need to punch out first, but after I get this all off the table, I'm going to be setting up tomorrow night's block game in my 1985 replay of season ticket baseball. We will be at Arlington Stadium in Arlington, Texas, as the Seattle Mariners play the Texas Rangers. Bill Wilkinson will be on the mound for the Mariners, and Frank Tanana will be on the mound for the Rangers. That's about 5 hours of sorting. Or, well, probably not. Probably by the time to integrate everything, yeah, I could see that. But hopefully it's not going to take too long to get everything sorted out. But, okay, so that was 1985. So it'll be June 18th, 1985 tomorrow in the replay. Then Wednesday we're playing Dragon Age tabletop role-playing game from Green Ronin Publishing. Saturday, Mystical Munchies will conclude out of the Marvel Eat the Universe cookbook with a dessert, Spider-Man's NYC Cheesecake. Then next week, we're continuing the winter campaign in Arkham Horror the card game with the 4th scenario, On Thin Ice. That'll be in Scarlet Keys. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care, everyone.